When women are out of order and they're bucking and they're acting disrespectful, this is how they act. Because they don't trust your leadership. They don't trust your ability to guide the family. They don't trust the security you provide. So what are they going to act like? They're going to try and keep you in line. They're going to treat you like one of the kids. They're always going to beg to differ. They're always going to try and correct you in front of the kids. They're always going to have an opposing viewpoint. They're not going to be as supportive when it comes to you making a decision. They're going to backtalk you. They're going to talk behind your back about how you're doing this and how you're doing that with your kids. And what's going to happen? Your kids are not only going to not respect you, they're going to end up resenting you because they're going to take their mother's side because it's who they identify with the most. Because they're sharing the same emotional energy that their mother has towards you. Do you want your children to grow up not respecting you as a man? Do you want your wife, if you even get one, to fall out of love with you and she doesn't even know why? Do you want to have a emotionally up and down relationship that you have no control over? Well, why don't you try indulging in woke philosophy? Now, I'm going to preface this video with a quote from a book that I read called The Devil and Karl Marx by Paul Kengor. This book is beast, 600-page book outlining Marxism from when it first started to how it affected American culture. Paul Kengor, he's kind of like a journalist slash historian. He does a lot of books on presidents and social culture. In the 60s and the 50s, 60s, 70s, we had this women's lib stuff. Now, there was someone by the name of Kate Millett. Kate Millett was one of the forerunners of the second wave feminism. She helped pave the way with books that she made, such as Sexual Politics, that helped bring together and make a coherent thing of feminist ideology to kind of really set the board for who the enemies are, what we must advocate for, what's good and what's bad in the feminist eye. The National Organization of Women put her in their Hall of Fame because they recognize her as an extreme advocate for women's rights. But why am I bringing this stuff up? Because being woke and behaving feminine are one and the same. A man who takes on woke ideologies will become inherently feminine. And I'm not going to talk too much about the intricate details of that, but I'm trying to make a bigger point here. I'm trying to explain to you just how terribly your relationships as a man with other women and your relationships with children are going to be if you follow down this path. Because what I've learned to understand is that feminism is kind of an ancient way of inverting order. It is an ancient way of inverting what's right and what's wrong. It even advocates from it up front, but not in the way you think. It talks about we must push the boundaries. We must advocate for taboo. Now, in Paul Kengor's book, The Devil and Karl Marx, it speaks of memoirs of Kate Millett's sister. So this is out of Kate Millett's sister's mouth at one of the meetings that she attended. So let me bring it up for a second. I stayed with Kate in a dilapidated loft on the Bowery as she finished her first book, PhD thesis for Columbia University, Sexual Politics. It was 1969. Kate invited me to join her for a gathering at home of her friend, Lisa Karp. They call the assemblage a consciousness-raising group, a typical communist exercise, something practiced in Maoist China. We gathered at a large table as the chairperson opened the meeting with a back and forth recitation, like a litany, a type of prayer done in a Catholic church. But now it was Marxism, the church of the left, mimicking religious practice. Why are we here today, she asked. To make revolution, they answered. What kind of revolution, she replied. The cultural revolution, they chanted. And how do we make cultural revolution, she demanded. By destroying the American family, they answered. How do we destroy the family? She came back. By destroying the American patriarch, they cried indurantly. And how do we destroy the American patriarch, she replied. By taking away his power. How do we do that? By destroying monogamy, they shouted. How can we destroy monogamy? By promoting promiscuity, eroticism, prostitution, and homosexuality, they resounded. So let's take a little step back. I'll bring in some of the things, some of the elements. Destroying monogamy. Monogamy is in question nowadays because of the gender role switch. The men are acting feminine and the women are acting masculine. Now, when you Look at the behaviors and the types of patterns in these type of men. I will call these men woke. You can call them simps. You can call them betas. Simps and woke men, betas, they share similar traits. Woke and simp, there's a correlation between a person's social, sexual behaviors and their political behaviors. That's what I'm trying to bring together. And they always have interplay. These men tend to have very consistent traits across the board. He's very much a you go girl type of guy. He's very much of an advocative person towards any woman's rights. But a lot of times this leads him to fall in a lot of feminine traits, because a lot of times what he admires it's what he advocates for. A lot of times is what he will become. A feminist man, a woke man, they're similar in my eyes, because in practice, sure, in the very distinguishable terms, they're different, but how they behave is consistent with both of them. The woke man is a man who adopts the ideology that Kate Millett helped cultivate and propagate. He is the man who you would call a feminist, or who self-proclaims it. He is the man who professes that he's for women. He is the man who adopts a lot of the political ideology and then practices it in his relationships with other people and how he communicates and how he treats women. He is your 2021 Captain Save-'em. He is your white knight. Now, the feminists have taught the man, this woke man, that he needs to be more in touch with his feminine side. Because the feminist thinks the patriarchy is so bad, she has to attack it by what? What did we just explain? We have to attack monogamy. But how do we do that? We destroy the bond, the natural bond between the man and the woman, and we make them estranged from each other. How is that, you might ask? Picture this if you're a woman. You walk up to, I got this from Fresh and Fit podcast, actually. Myron says this. You meet a guy, he's very attractive. He's looking at you, you're looking at him. Then all of a sudden, he walks up to you and you're getting all excited. You're like, dang, he's about to walk up to me. What's he about to say? He opens his mouth and he's like, hey girl, how you doing? Really love your shoes. You know, I just really love you in that outfit. You look so hot. You look so cute. Oh my gosh. After a conversation, he says, you know what? I'd love to take you out. You know, let's go on a date. See, you would take that as a woman. If you wouldn't have pause, you would be like, okay, maybe he just wants to be friends or something. But somewhere, subconsciously and automatically, you're automatically going to be like, dang, this is a bummer. I thought he was cute. Too bad he's gay, right? You're going to automatically be inherently repulsed by him in terms of attraction, because you recognize his hyper feminine traits as he's acting. Now, this is what I'm trying to bring at. A man who shows feminine traits, you're not going to necessarily notice it, but you're going to feel it, and it's going to subconsciously communicate to you. What it's going to communicate is, this man is feminine, and I'm going to lose attraction to him in the very consequence of him being feminine. Now, how are men feminine, and how do men act feminine? See, when you're all about that you go girl, and you put girls first, and you advocate for women, and you're a feminist, and you want equality, how are you going to tend to act? This is how you're going to act. You're going to act, first off, I looked on a website to look at certain feminine traits, and I'm going to highlight to you how a man will act in these feminine traits. A feminine trait, a lot of times, is vulnerability. Now, how is a feminine man going to act vulnerable? Well, he's going to overshare. He's going to want to impress. He's going to seek validation, and he's going to want to seek approval, right? Feminine. He's going to be very patient. A patient man, when taken to the extreme, he becomes a doormat, because he is allowing you to walk over him, and he's constantly forgiving you. He is showing to be a person with no boundary. Empathy. When a person is empathetic, a lot of times they feel for you. They forgive you. You know what? I understand why she's late. You know what? I understand why she cussed at me. You know what? Maybe, I can kind of understand why she was flirting with that dude right in front of my face. You're going to be very accommodating to a woman's bad behavior. And this shows up as feminine. But when you're putting women first, and when you have this political ideology that's at the forefront of your mind, you're always trying to think, I'm trying to be the best man for her. I'm trying to be a gentleman. I'm trying to be chivalrous. I'm trying to be like the knight in shining armor that we see in the Disney movies. This is a failure. What you're doing is you are acting contrary to your very nature. You are acting in a way that's going to make her repulsed by you. A woke man will finish last with women, and he will finish last when it comes to his child's perspective. Meaning, not only is he going to finish last with women, his children are not even going to respect him. So, let's get into this respect thing, because if a woman doesn't respect you, she can't love you. It's almost not possible. If you want to have that burning desire from a woman, there has to be a deep level of respect or a solid level of respect. But if she doesn't respect you, it's going to be downhill from there. Now, let me just have you guys bear with me for a second. A lot of women know that they're inherently insecure. A lot of women know that they're kind of emotional and they can be crazy at times. So what does it look like a man who's overly accommodating, who's vulnerable, who's extremely patient, who's always forgiving? He's a nice guy. What does this look like? This is what it looks like. The girl says, "Hey, honey, I want to go out to eat." Man says, "I don't know. Why don't you pick something?" "Hey, honey, let's go do something." The man says, I'm really into doing what you're trying to do. Why don't you pick something out?" This is going to make the woman feel like she has to take charge. It's going to make her more masculine because she's expecting the man, and she gets aroused, or she highly desires a man who can say, "This is where we're going. This is what we're going to do at this time. This is the program we're going to be on. You follow that line. You sit here." Women like that stuff. I don't care what you say. Yes, it's not politically correct. I don't care. I'm going to cut right through it. Now, if a woman kind of inherently knows that she needs to be led and that she feels the most safe when she's led, how is it going to feel when a man is always trying to be on her beck and call, when he's always trying to accommodate her, when she's allowed to encroach on all of his boundaries? She's going to feel like she can't trust him, because what this man is doing is he's doing everything for her. But what she wants to do is she wants to have a man who leads, but she can't. She can't trust a man who is almost just as emotional as she is, because he's always trying to accommodate, and he's always reacting to her emotions in every state that she changes in. He's trying to accommodate her for this feminine man. It makes it so that she can't trust. She can't trust, she can't respect, she can't love. That's a deductive argument. Now, a woman who doesn't respect you, she's going to mistreat you. She's going to take you for granted. She's going to drag you through the mud. She's going to do things that are going to break your heart. And this is how you're going to finish last. So let's get to the child aspect of it. What if just in some way you end up getting with this woman and it's good at first and you guys have kids? What's going to happen? You're a feminine man. You don't know how to lead. She does not respect you. What is she going to do? Not only is she might see you as an equal, not just that. No. It doesn't stop there. She's going to start seeing you like she's above you. And how is that going to play out? She's going to treat you like that in front of the kids. Oh, snap. She feels like she has to take charge. She doubts your ability to lead. She doesn't believe and she doesn't trust in you that you have what it takes to do the right thing. So how does that look like? It looks like, I'm going to emasculate you in front of the kids. I'm going to say, no, let's not do that. I'm going to correct you. I'm going to tell you what I think is right. See, when women are out of order and they're bucking and they're acting disrespectful, this is how they act. Because they don't trust your leadership. They don't trust your ability to guide the family. They don't trust the security you provide. So what are they going to act like? They're going to try and keep you in line. They're going to treat you like one of the kids. They're always going to beg to differ. They're always going to try and correct you in front of the kids. They're always going to have an opposing viewpoint. They're not going to be as supportive when it comes to you making a decision. They're going to backtalk you. They're going to talk behind your back about how you're doing this and how you're doing that with your kids. And what's going to happen? Your kids are not only going to not respect you, they're going to end up resenting you because they're going to take their mother's side because it's who they identify with the most, because they're sharing the same emotional energy that their mother has towards you. So why would they respect you? Why would they hold you in high regard? Why would they not side with their mother, your wife, behind your back and do things against your own interests? I've seen it happen time and time again in other families, and in a lot of ways it's happened in my family. I'm bringing this up because the man being overly emotional, being to and fro, not being the rock, not being sturdy, not having a foundation and leading as a proper role model, it has caused the woman to doubt, challenge, and try and usurp his authority. which in turn communicates to the hierarchy of man, woman, child. It throws it out of order because the child sees the woman challenge the man. The man can't meet the expectation as he's supposed to. Nobody respects anybody below him. They all become insubordinate. So, at the end of the day, you cannot adopt any of these ideologies because they will naturally leak into your behavior that you treat other women. It will naturally do it because that's how it was set up to. So, man, there's always more to say. I wish these videos could go on for longer, but I appreciate you guys' comments. You guys take care.